Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, fellow colleagues senators. Good afternoon. If you would kindly permit me just a moment, I wish to extend condolences to our former Senator Joachim Henry and his family, who just buried their son, Josimar. He was laid to rest this week, and as I watched the funeral service, I was deeply moved. I cannot begin to imagine the pain that they are going through right now, but through you, Madam President, I just want to let them know that we are all praying for them and hope they find strength in this extremely difficult time. Also, if you permit me, I wish to extend every mother present here, every mother in St. Lucia and in the diaspora, a happy Mother's Day. Madam President, I am always thankful for an opportunity to share my views where I try as best as I can to capture the views of the people who otherwise would not have an opportunity to share their concerns today. We are here to debate a further extension to the state of emergency for an additional 5 months, ending on October 16th, 2021. Now, Madam President, a state of emergency in itself would need to be implemented in extreme circumstances according to our Constitution. And of course, us citizens would have an appreciation for the need of a state of emergency, provided that substantial information is distributed to the population. But Madam President, it is not just me, but the people of St. Lucia have great difficulty understanding the need for the extension for an additional 5 months, when just last week, the Chief Medical Officer and the Minister of Health expressed that we were doing well with the management of the virus. But here we are, Madam President, and I'm wondering why. But the people of St. Lucia, we just have one question. And I do believe that every decision made on behalf of our country should be made on some basis, on some form of measurement or indicators. And so I would ask this question: what indicators influence the extension of the state of emergency for an additional 5 months? I listened very attentively to the leader of government business, but could not ascertain a rationale that is substantial enough for us to understand. So far, we have just heard that the reason for extending the state of emergency is because we need to extend the curfew. But we are doing so well, Madam President. The Minister of Tourism, when the lower house met the day before, said that we have a total of 15 variant cases in St. Lucia. And that's from since last year. We haven't had any recent variant cases, I guess, but we still need to extend the SOE. A few days ago, we learned that the contract period of hiring of about 200 young persons, the COVID wardens as we know them, has come to an end. So after a few months, we have no need for the wardens, but we still need to extend the state of emergency. Madam President, if all 200 wardens were hired to strengthen our efforts to fight COVID-19, why isn't there a conversation, or why hasn't there been a conversation about the renewal of their contracts? Initially, we were told that the wardens were hired to supplement the efforts of the police, so that the police officers themselves could focus on more serious crime. And the senator opposite also attested to that just now. That was the reason. But we are doing so well. We don't need the wardens anymore, but we still need to extend the state of emergency. Madam President, one would naturally deduce that we are indeed doing well. If the wardens are no longer needed, there are no more variant cases of the virus, and yes, we now have a travel bubble, the St. Lucia designated travel bubble, which includes Antigua, Anguilla, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, and others. The government has lessened the restrictions on travelers coming into St. Lucia. So this means that we are doing well. So why are we here to extend the state of emergency? Madam President, on April 28th,
Honorable Minister. Madam President, I stand on a point of elucidation. The Senator has asked a question up in her speech, and as the Minister with responsibility for Home Affairs, I think I'm entitled to give her an explanation.
Proceed, Minister.
Okay. Let me just... Yes, thank you very much. Madam President and other senators, I think I didn't speak on my time at the podium, and I must try to put the mind of the senator at ease. This project was a 7-month project, and because it was so successful that we had to be getting funds to be able to do that. Presently, it has come to an end, but the government is actively looking for the finances in ways of like savings, because there are positions that where the police has to employ more police officers, more fire officers, and so on. But we have recognized the importance of the COVID wardens, and so we are making the relevant allocations available so that they can be paid. We don't want to have persons employed and 2-3 months down the line you're not paying them. We want to make sure that we pay them every month like any other civil servant. So this is the reason why the project has been shelved for a little while, but we intend to continue. Thank you.
Senator Jawahir.
Thank you, Madam President, and I will certainly address what the Senator just presented in a few moments. Madam President, on April 28th, which was last week Wednesday, we were told that the Prime Minister traveled to Barbados for 1 day to attend high-level meetings. But according to the designated travel bubble, Barbados was not yet listed as a country in that bubble until 2 days later when he returned. Now, Madam President, I did not know that the Prime Minister was excluded from following the law where he would need to be quarantined upon return. I did not know. But instead, and much to my surprise, I noticed him dancing at an FFF event, Fire Flubbo Friday, and with no mask, just having returned from Barbados, and we talk about leading by example. This Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, said, and I quote, "In an effort to prevent the spread of COVID-19, a person shall wear a mask of suitable covering over his or her mouth." But in that FFF event, you saw none of this, because there are rules that apply to one set of persons and rules that apply to another. But I'll move on. Interestingly enough, you hear that Barbados has now been added to the travel bubble after the fact, but there was still more quarantine period for the Prime Minister. Madam President, the Prime Minister also said a few days ago that our vulnerability to a virus still raging will increase. Okay, but we have no more wardens, and the Minister just said that we are looking for additional financing, and I really have to ask, with the $500 million, nearly $500 million with a capital B that we have come here so far for COVID, there is still no financing to support the wardens? But I can understand, because it has been admitted that the country is broke. Madam President, in one breath, we hear that we are doing well with managing COVID so far, so travel restrictions are lessened. But in another breath, we need to extend the SOE. Is it because we are really not doing well? I don't know, so I have to ask this question because one was not provided. If we are so concerned about our people, why aren't we strengthening our efforts to help curb the spread to fight the virus if certain restrictions are being lifted where our borders are concerned? But our people will still have to endure this curfew for an additional 5 months. Madam President, you know who will feel this? The young people who have had absolutely no psychological support so far, being faced with circumstances that they have never experienced before. And we see that crime has gone to an all-time high. During this period, we have to ask ourselves, what is the cause of that? We have not seen any psychological support at all. Madam President, since March 2020, Businesses have had to shut down entirely for months because they were non-essential. You remember that? Losing an opportunity to gain thousands of dollars in revenue. Some non-essential businesses reopened, but many still could not thrive. And as we know, there are thousands of restaurants and bar owners, taxi drivers, bus drivers, small business operators whose operations continue into the night. And for them, it makes absolutely no sense to open at 5 o'clock. You have to cook, you have to set up, then break down, pay staff, and close at 8 o'clock because they have to get home for 9. Only 2 hours. So they will not be able to sustain, Madam President. It would have been better served if the government came here today to extend the state of emergency based on such and such, because we have not seen the facts or statistics or science to prove to us why that is needed. It has not been laid here. And in addition, any form of support to the businesses who have suffered in the last 90 days and who may very well be suffering in an additional 5 months. But we saw none of that here. We are just being asked, Madam President, to extend the state of emergency for an additional 5 months. Nothing to cushion the burden, not even that. But I really want, through you, Madam President, to take a moment to commend Senator Oje, who recently hosted a fundraiser to support a young man in the music industry, a young man who needed some sort of funding to go to school. We are seeing that our individuals here, private citizens are doing that. But we are yet to see any support from the government, who promised earlier this year that there will be some sort of economic relief that will be a direct intervention to support our people. We have not seen it. But all we see to offer St. Lucia is tell our people that we need to extend the state of emergency for an additional 5 months. Our people deserve better than what is passing for government right now. Madam President, the truth is the 9 p.m. curfew has only benefited some businesses, as I explained earlier. And there are others who are still waiting on that economic relief because they need assistance to pay their bills. When I walk the streets, Madam President, I am constantly met with concerns of fear and hopelessness as people of St. Lucia think that restrictions are lessened for everyone else but for us. Our borders have opened a bit more, but we are still at home. No work, no opportunity, no social interaction. Because when you leave work, it's already 9 o'clock, it's already 8 o'clock. All you have to do is just go home. We still have not seen any support from the government. But Madam President, I'll move on. As of today, we are at 74 COVID-19 deaths. And 75, thank you. Wow, imagine that. I look at this motion before us to extend the SOE, and I think, what about the measures that we have been hearing for about almost a year? Are they not working? Because if they are not working, I can understand the need for a state of emergency. And speaking of these measures, Madam President, I just want clarification on one thing. Whatever happened to the contact tracing app that was launched at the beginning of March, along with the bio stickers and trackers? Because I encourage my friends and my families to download the app. And up until yesterday, I tried, but it is not working. Madam President, I have also spoken to persons who came to St. Lucia, and they told me that they were not even told about the app. Furthermore, some who received the sticker said they have not even gotten a call from a health official to follow up on them during or after quarantine. Not my words, but them. Madam President, according to the COVID-19 response website, contact tracing is the cornerstone of preventative medicine and a public health strategy in reducing the rate of transmission of a disease. But we don't get calls from health officials anymore. And is contact tracing even happening? And last Senate sitting, I did give my own experience when I spoke about the passing of my grandfather due to COVID. We never got a call up to now. You see, Madam President, it does not make sense to me, and I can only imagine for the persons who are viewing at home. I have given many reasons why, as an ordinary citizen, how the SOE will have a tremendous impact on the lives and livelihoods of our people who are already feeling that state of hopelessness. But even with all of that, and with all that has been said by my colleague senators on this side, the government still cannot come up with a plausible explanation on why the extension is needed. What also will be provided to cushion that blow to persons, individuals, companies, private citizens who will be feeling this for another 5 months? Furthermore, Madam President, we learned yesterday that we are preparing for the reopening of the cruise sector in a few weeks, that the Prime Minister left to engage cruise officials. I just have a question. What measures will be put in place to accommodate those passengers? Because I don't think they will be staying on the boats. Will they be doing tours? Will they be permitted to walk through castries and support our local vendors who can finally make a bread? How do we intend to keep our vendors safe? What measures will be put in place for the taxi drivers? Madam President, I have had conversations with taxi drivers, I have had conversations with vendors, and they will tell you that in relation to the cruise sector reopening in a few weeks, there has absolutely been no consultation with them. Madam President, this is very concerning because we want our people to be prepared. The last thing we want is an influx of passengers, and we are not ready to facilitate them, and we have another outbreak on our hands. No one wants that, especially when the management of COVID-19 has been extremely poor. There has been little to no contact tracing, and now there is a significant delay in establishing herd immunity because we are unable to acquire the vaccines that we need at this time. Madam President, I hope the members on the other side have understood my concerns and have understood the deficiencies that I have pointed out with the explanation so far in why we need to extend the SOE. I also urge the government to work quickly on vaccinating that 75% of our population and keep their promise to the people on the direct intervention that they said they were going to provide. Because it really is tough. It's tough for all of us, Madam President. It's not just me who's lost my clients. It's not just the vendor. It's not just the taxi driver, the bus driver, the fisherman, the farmer. It's every single St. Lucian who has suffered in one way or the other, whether it be financial or psychological, where they have felt the impact of COVID-19. So, Madam President, with this, I hope that the next member on the other side who comes to speak after me, or perhaps in the Leader of Government Businesses rebuttal, that she can provide, or they can provide, a substantial reasoning as to why we should support this SOE today. Thank you.